Hello, everybody. Happy Saturday. I hope we're all doing good. It's your girl Sika in the house. I have tried so many times to get this very serious off the ground and always ended up not being able to carve out the time in my very busy schedule to make sure that it happens. But, we live to try another day, and I really want to launch this thing and get it off the ground and get it going, because these are some of the conversations that it's not had that much in our community. Unfortunately, we are a group of people that hide a lot of things and not very open and have deep-seated, honest conversations about what happens to women. And I'm really elated to see that there's so many men these days that want to understand women and the challenges that women face. And so would jump on sessions like this to get a better understanding of a woman's persona, the challenges that women face, so that men are better placed to be able to live with women. And so I'm praying that this time I'm able to carve out the time to keep talking about these issues, because it's something that is very dear to my heart. Being a woman, going through some of the things that I'm about to talk about, and finding ways really to better cope with some of the circumstances that we women are faced with. Women can be very special people, actually a blessing to men, if men only understand what a blessing they have and how to harness and carve out the best things that they can get out of women. But a lot of the times, people struggle to deal with women because you don't take the time to understand who a woman is. My name is Sika. Those of you who have been on social media and in this family or platform for a long time would know an awful lot about me. My life is like the palm of my hand. I don't hold any bars. I just say it as it is. And for some people, it works. For other people, it doesn't. I'm not here to be loved by everybody, but I'm just here to speak my truth. A few weeks back, I shared about my own journey with gynecological issues that I am facing myself personally, and gave a lot of tidbits about how it's been for me and some of the things that we can do to have better outcomes. The reason why I switched on my camera today is because I just had a very long conversation with one of my girlfriends that I haven't heard from for quite some time. And she said something that when you hit your 40s, you start to seek and cherish peace over and above everything. And the body is going through so many hormonal changes that not having peace makes it an awful, much more difficult to cope with. And, be able to find better ways of navigating through that phase of life. I don't know why my mother and lots of other older women didn't have these honest conversations with us growing up, so that we were better prepared to know how to deal with these kinds of situations when they come about in our lives. So I'm in my 40s, and some of the things that I'm experiencing now are very difficult for me to be able to cope with. And anybody who is around those ages, late 30s, early 40s, mid 40s or beyond, or even people who've had this experience already, may be able to relate to some of the things that I'm about to say. Hormonal changes. One of the most difficult things that we women have to deal with. Oh, hello, big sister. How are you doing? Our health is very essential, and we should take time to do self-care, develop self-love, wellness, basically self-everything. I can't begin to put that into words or say in any other way than you have. Thank you so much for your comment there. And it's the honest truth. we women go through so much. Like, you become a teenager, you start having periods, and then you go through the whole phase of having children, and then now you have to raise the children. But in your late 30s into 40s, now you're going through the perimenopausal phase of your life, which is what is happening to me. Because in the last 2 years, a lot of things have been happening to my body that I just don't understand. It's like I'm always playing catch up on myself. What is happening? I'm not eating anything different. I'm just gaining weight. Like, what is going on? And it feels like I am always chasing my tail, trying to find what it is really that is going on here. Leanne says, it's a very interesting topic and it's very good to be here. Darling, like, I wish that these were conversations that we could have openly and be honest about the things that we're going through. It might help the partners that we may or may not have in our lives to better understand us and hopefully be able to cope with us better. I'm going through mood changes. Like, 1 minute I'm happy, the next I'm not. I already have polycystic ovaries, which is another hormonal issue. But a lot of things that have heightened in the last couple of years. Some of them I experienced, maybe not so much. But now, it's difficult. It's not easy. My sister, I'm doing well. I'm glad you're fine. I love you too. Mwah. You know, it's difficult. Mood changes. 1 minute you're happy, the next minute you're sad, you're crying for no reason, you're upset for no reason, you're angry for no reason. Hormonal changes. Because you're going from having periods and transitioning into menopause. And that stage, that phase of things, is a very difficult place to be and to navigate. There's so much out there to learn, and I'm still learning. Whatever I find, I will share. But today, I just wanted to draw awareness that if you're into your 40s, late 30s, early 40s, and you're suddenly experiencing things that you don't understand, it just might be that you're getting into that transitional phase into menopause. My mom didn't have her menopause until well into her mid-50s. But I don't know what my body is doing. A lot of people would say, as a rule of thumb, girls would normally marry the same or mirror the same things that happen to their mothers. I don't know whether it's going to be the case with me, but I'm all the symptoms that happen in the perimenopausal phase of things. You're transitioning into the end of all this period, monthly flows, and all of those things. Very difficult place to be. The second thing that is happening is that you begin to notice that you're going through changes in your desire for intimacy. So imagine that you're a married woman or you're in a committed relationship with somebody. And this somebody is expecting that if they want to have 6 rounds of, good mama and papa every week. And now all you're willing to do is 1 every week or once a fortnight. It's like, what happened to you? Are you not desiring me anymore? You've changed and all of that. Hormonal changes. Some people skew to the level of not wanting nobody to touch them oftentimes. And I've also spoken to women who actually, at that time, in this perimenopausal phase of things, they want it a lot more than they did before. And your fella will be thinking, hey, what happened to you? Like, what changed? Hormonal changes is what happened. So it depends on who you are and where on the spectrum you are. There isn't one size fits all kind of situation. Everybody is different. Every human body is different. But when you understand some of the things that are happening in your body, at least you're better placed to be able to deal with your situation. Sometimes, I've spoken to people who've said to me, sometimes they're driving or in the middle of work And all of a sudden, this wave goes past them and it's like, whew, I want it now. I have to have it now. And it's almost as if you're addicted to something, and it's like it has to happen right now. But if you're ever ready or able to weather that storm, half an hour later, it's like, what just happened? Why was I feeling the edge so deeply? And then now it's blown over and it's gone. These are conversations that many people shy away from, especially in our community. We're not open and honest about these kinds of things, so that we can better understand, oh, so it isn't that there's anything weird happening to me. Actually, I'm actually quite normal. This is something that has happened to other people before me. So it's not something that is just peculiar to me. Oh, okay, it makes sense. It's something that happens. Sometimes I have so much trouble concentrating. When you're telling me a story these days and the story is long and winding and you don't keep to the tangent of what you're trying to say to me, and you go passing somewhere and go long, lugu time of way trying to tell me something, I lose train of thought. It's like I haven't even heard what you've said. It's all because of the hormonal changes that I'm going through. Headaches is another big one. And I get migraines a lot of the time. So going through this phase and having migraine attacks for no reason, not funny to deal with, but it happens. And so when we talk about some of these or have these open, frank, and honest conversations, and you're watching me today and you're in those kinds of ages and you're going through these changes and don't understand, hopefully by telling you that you're not alone, that I'm facing the same thing too. And there's so many other women there who, you know, for whatever reason, don't have the boldness to talk about what they're going through too, that you're not the only one who is facing it and you're not alone. I hope that I can bring that kind of comfort to other people. I have the night sweats. Sometimes it's the thick of winter. It's minus 40 degrees. I'm in my bed and my bed is all wet with sweat because I just had a hot flash. Not funny. And when I'm in that zone, I don't want nobody touching nothing. I just want to be left alone. It's almost as if you're losing your mind. And I quite remember seeing older women in my life go through it. And some of them, when they're in a wave, they run to the house, strip literally to birthday suit. And it's like they've lost them. Put a fan on, give me some ice water with some cubes in it. And then half an hour later, they're fine again. And as a young teenager, I used to think, what the hell is this? Like, what's wrong with these women? What are they on? But now that I'm experiencing it myself, I'm like, oh, so this was what it was. Oh, I get it now. It's not funny. It's not funny. Another thing is vaginal dryness. So you know yourself that back in the day when you were aroused and you got into the bedroom to do the do with your spouse, husband, partner, whatever, that you, upon arousal, that you were wet enough to be able to tolerate things, you know, going inside of you. But now, no matter how much this machine is cranked, it is as dry as anything. As dry as a desert. Like, it doesn't matter what you try. Ain't nothing moving nowhere. Honey, pre-menopausal symptoms are happening. It makes the whole experience not enjoyable. And unless you're able to have this frank and honest conversation with your spouse or your partner, it's very difficult for you to be able to navigate this. Some of the men think that it's their fault maybe they're not doing whatever they need to do well enough. It has nothing to do with that, honey. The partner that you have, the wife that you have, is going through the changes of life. If you can understand that and be more empathetic towards her, and both of you sit down and research and find things that you can do to make the experience still pleasant and enjoyable, the world is a happy place. I was actually encouraged when one of my girlfriends said to me that when she was going through this kind of thing, and she's happy for me to share, this is not something that is a hidden secret, that when she was going through all of that, that her husband was actually the one who went Googling and researching and looking for different lubricants and all kinds of things that they can try so that they can bring the excitement back into their relationship. How many husbands will sit with their women and actually bring up these conversations, bring the big elephants and drag them into the room and actually sit down and look each other in the eye and be able to talk about these things? There's so many of my girlfriends who would tell me that unfortunately, intimacy is something, a no conversation between themselves and their spouses, and I'm just completely taken aback by it. This is somebody that you're sharing a piece of yourself with. If you can't be open, frank, and honest with him about what's going on with you, who else can you be frank, open, and honest with about what is going on in your body? It takes maturity. It takes a man who is able to understand that nothing stays the same forever, and that both him and his partner are all going through the changes of life to understand that nothing stays the same. There was a time in my life when my boobs were pointing straight like that. The nipples were all upright and everything was like this. And then as you start getting older, things start going south. It's part of life. It happens to the best of us. Nothing stays the same. 25 years ago, I wasn't plumpy like this. I was like sticks. Today, this is how I am. And it's part of life too. And you just have to accept it for what it is. It's the changing phases of life. Our brothers used to have high tops, were able to cut and shave off the sides of their head and leave a whole mountain full of hair at the middle part of their head. Today, many of them would be lucky if they could just pick up patches of those hairs and stick it in the holes that are in the middle sections of their head. Changing phases of life. Some of our brothers had six-pack in their teens and 20s. Today, a lot of our brothers are carrying 18-month pregnancies all over the place. Changing phases of life. And if you don't understand this, that nothing stays stagnant, everything changes with time, it'll be very difficult for you to navigate this phase of your life. Another thing that a lot of women suffer from, and actually I now understand why a lot of my brothers would come to me complaining about how their spouses don't want them to touch them. You know, sometimes in the middle of the night, I'm so whatever, I have a hard on and I want to really, do the do with my wife and whatever. And she doesn't, she just picks up my hand and just throws it off her. It's difficulty with sleeping and being able to have that sustained deep sleep for long hours. So it could be that your wife got into bed with you, you went off snoring into the sunset. For 3-4 hours, she's been tossing and turning. Just when she was nodding off to bed, this is when you have had a hard on, and now you want her to be able to do whatever. Of course, you throw your hands off because it's been a struggle to be able to get any rest, to now start the next day. If you don't understand some of these things that are happening, it's very difficult for you to navigate and find a common ground, a compromise to be able to help each other out and make your relationship as exciting as can be. Takes a lot of understanding to make that happen. Joint and muscular aches. Yeah. When you have one little fall, you feel like you're in your 60s and 70s because the bones are not joining back together and healing as quickly as they did in your teens and 20s, because the body is going through the changes of life. Frequent peeing. Yeah, another big one that a lot of us don't want to talk about because it's so shameful, it's embarrassing. The number of times that I've wet my pants, I can't even begin to count. I speak the truth, hand on heart. You know, I can only give it to you straight. If I know that I'm going to be in a place where a very funny conversation is going to be had, I need to make sure that my bladder is empty whilst having that conversation. If I try to have that conversation on a full bladder and I start laughing and bursting out and teasing and all of that, chances of wetting my pants are very high because the pelvic floor is going through changes. There are things that you can do to strengthen it back up and help the situation. But some of the embarrassing things that my mothers would not tell us is that pelvic leakage is very possible when women have had children and gone through so many things. Yeah, those are some of the casualties that come out of that. And there's a place for a deeper conversation about that. Today is just to highlight premenopausal symptoms or perimenopause to a lot of us so that we can understand as we launch into talking about health issues on a Saturday on this social media handle. Very necessary and a big contributor, actually, to what happens in our daily lives as we seek to become better people, progressive people that are trying to move ourselves forward in our lives. So when you have somebody that you're with who is frequently peeing, it wasn't like that before, or, you know, you're having a conversation that gets funny and, yeah, maybe there's a little bit of leakage. Understand that these are all part of the changes that we women experience as we go into the next phase of our lives. I have found that there are a lot of things that we can do to make this journey and transition a little bit more easier for us. Today I'll talk about one or two of them because I don't want this video to be a long one, and I want you, please, if you wouldn't do anything else for me today, please share this video. It just might save a life. You just might actually bring it home to somebody that he or she hasn't lost their mind. Especially the women have not lost their minds, and this is not something that is just peculiar to them, but all of us women, even those of us who don't have the big mouth like I do to talk about it, are going through it in silence. The first thing that I would say to any sister of mine who's listening and watching this very video, because it is for you that I'm recording this, is that if you really want to have an easier ride, because this ride, there's nothing easy about it, but you can make it easier on yourself, it is to seek peace above everything at all times. If your peace never mattered to you in your 20s and 30s, let peace matter to you in your late 30s and 40s. Otherwise, my darling, you're gonna struggle. You're gonna struggle. Anything that steals your joy, anything that takes away your peace, honey, you gotta fight it with anything and everything that you have. Because if you're going to traverse this part of the journey, peace of mind, removing every iota of stress, take it from somebody who knows. I've tried it the hard way. I'm telling you, peace of mind is what is going to get you through these very precarious times, these very challenging, difficult times. And maybe you're not understanding what I'm saying to you. But what I mean is, in every circumstance, in every situation that you find yourself in, choose peace over everything as you go through this change in your life. Otherwise, you're going to navigate. Yeah, you might survive, but you might just have very deep casualties on this journey. Casualties that you may never recover from. That you will go into the next phase of life finally, struggling to cope, pushing hard just to survive. And it's very pointless. Seek peace over everything. Once you hit your 40s, the chances of you getting high blood pressure is very, very high. It's very easy for you to get that. If you want to stay alive, if you want to stay medication free for as long as possible, seek peace over everything. You might have a spouse who just always wants to bring wahala to the house. It's always shouting and screaming and fighting. Honey, seek peace. It may cost you people thinking you're stupid because you're quiet and you're silent, but choose peace and save your own life. And if it's a situation that isn't going to change, remove yourself and save your life. Because fight it with whatever you have. Seek peace above everything. Sometimes it will be called selfishness, but actually it's called self-love. People would say all kinds of things to guilt trip you into thinking that you don't care about anybody, you're selfish. Honey, you got to be alive first. Yeah, and put your own life jacket on first before you can save anybody else. Husband, children, it doesn't matter. Choose peace. Choose self over and above everything. Those who understand me understand what I'm saying. But peace above everything else. If you want to do this any other type of way, honey, you're going to struggle. You're going to struggle. Anything that causes you stress, choose peace. If it's your job, choose peace. If you can remove yourself to a better place, do that. Do whatever it takes, but honey, just choose peace over and above everything. I think I've made that point quite clear. If you have any questions, honey, about what I've just said, ask and I will answer you. But choose peace. The other thing that I'd say in choosing the peace is that you have to remove people and things that bring drama into your life, out of your system, out of your circles. For me, it's cost me friends. It's cost me a lot of relationships. But I still choose peace. And being in my own space, getting comfortable with my own company. I've lived by myself for many years, so I know how to entertain my own self and make my own self happy. You might not be living by yourself. You have a spouse, you've got children. Whatever your situation is, still seek peace. Make time for you. You know, we women an awful lot of times always want to save everybody else. And we're always the last people on the plate that we think about. You want to save your spouse. You want to save your children. You want to save your extended. Who is looking out for you in all of this? When you're also now dealing with all these situations that you're faced with in your gynecological life as you transition into menopause. And actually, this advice works for people who are nowhere near menopause even. Even if you're fertile and you're having your children and all of that, the journey is a lot easier when you choose peace over and above everything. It makes things a heck of a lot easier. When your hormones are out of whack, out of sync, and things are so hard, you're trying to even get a grip of your own life, adding stress to that situation is very unhelpful. Stress does a lot of things to us that we can't even begin to understand. So choose peace and remove yourself from anything, any drama in your life. The next thing that I would say is that you need to cultivate the habit of checking out what nutrients your body is lacking and seek getting those things to balance the things that are going on in your system. We often hear people talk about 5 a day, fruits and vegetables, and we just hear it. It's like, oh, whatever. This is a broken record. But actually, it does make a difference when you fill your body with the correct nutrients. Fruits, vegetables, make sure your body isn't lacking anything. If you're struggling with sleeping, introduce magnesium into your system. Make sure all your vitamins, the D's, the C's, the calciums of this life, inside, the zincs of this life, in your diet, and you're actually taking supplements to help us. Some of us are under the false pretense that because we have melanin in our bodies, that actually we're absorbing sunlight. And so we have enough vitamin D, we don't need any more. Honey, the converse is true. As Black people, we need vitamin D supplements in our system. And a lot of it, so to speak. If you live in a country that goes through 4 different seasons of life, honey, you need vitamin D to be your best friend. Go and check your vitamin D levels. You'll be shocked at where you're at. So please, don't be deceived. Oh, it's summertime and I'm sunbathing and all of, yeah, you just burn your skin, but yeah, ain't not that much vitamin D getting into your system, honey. Go get some. Treat yourself. Prioritize yourself. And never forget that you have to stay alive and healthy first before you can give love, care, and everything to everybody else. The truth is that we women are always the last. Oh, I need to do this for the children. I need to do this for the husband. Who is doing anything for you? Who? Seek yourself and help yourself. I'm so happy with the comment that my sister Ajoado put on the page about self-everything. You have to look after self to be able to then give off what you have to somebody. You can't be giving from an empty pot. When you're run down, one marriage that you had, 2 children that you have, and you're looking like your great-grandmother. Honey, wake up call. You need to survive. And you would only survive if you take care of yourself. The other thing that I would say is that things like evening primrose are very helpful for helping us manage our hormonal imbalances in this precarious, difficult, challenging phase going into menopause of our lives. I find the omegas also help in traversing that. Do your research. Find brands that actually have good stuff in them. And go hard on taking those. B complex is another one. that you need to help you navigate this phase of your life. On top of all of that, and in the last 8-9 months, I finally found what I can only describe as an angel who introduced me to redox and trying to heal yourself from a cellular level. Because let's face it, our bodies go through so much. And the breakdown and the decomposition is happening at a cellular level. And so if we're really going to be serious about being whole and fixing our lives, you got to get down to the root causes of your problem and begin to fix the damage that is going on from a cellular level. If you want any information about what redox is, drop me a message in the comment section and I will send you more information about redox. But it's something that has helped me an awful lot on this journey. There's supplements that have helped with joint issues, the joint pains. Those of you who know me well enough know that I suffer with arthritis on my own, and now adding the transitional phases of things to it, it's a very difficult thing for me. And so finding supplements that help in reducing inflammation, joint aches and pains, and actually oiling and helping to make things feel better for you helps. Again, if you want any information about that, drop a line in the comment section and I'm very happy to share what I have discovered and found so far with you. I can't see any more comments, so I don't know whether people are typing and it's just not appearing or anything. I can see that there's some people, but I don't know whether we're still here. If we're still here and I'm still talking to an active audience, can I at least see a love heart pop up my screen? So I still know that I'm still talking to people in real time. Because everything has disappeared off my screen and I'm not sure, I don't know whether I'm still talking to people or not. A love heart will be nice, just to know that you're still here and you can hear me. It's tough. Okay? The last thing that I'm going to say before I leave is that sometimes when we have honest conversations with our spouses, our other halves, about the things that we are going through, any man who is very open-minded is wise and actually wants to save their home and their relationship would have an open ear to listen to what you have to say. It is not to be seen as an excuse. Oh, this woman is just trying to use this to deny me being able to have my way with her. If you're able to explain what is going on to your spouse, they are able to understand. Some of the ones that are actually loving would go the extra mile to do their own private research in the quiet. Learn about the things that help in managing those kinds of symptoms and come back to you with solutions that could help both of you navigate the changes of life. If you have that kind of a spouse, if you're fortunate enough to have a man that loves you so much, then they're so invested in you that they will go that extra mile to figure things out on your behalf. You are blessed. But even if you didn't, honey, it's your life. And you are responsible for making sure that you stay alive, you're well, and you're able to keep yourself going to be able to do all the things that the heavens have bestowed on you to accomplish, that destiny that needs to be realized, it lies on you. You can't seek your happiness, your peace, and put all those kinds of expectations on another human being. Because when you do that, the arm of flesh always ends up failing. And then you're disappointed. But when you take it upon yourself that I, Seeker, is responsible for making sure that I, Seeker, am happy at all times, you do whatever it takes to keep that happiness, that peace. Because it is actually your responsibility. If you're fortunate enough to have a spouse who makes you happy, hooray. But with or without a spouse, you have the mandate and the responsibility. You own it to your own self. You owe it to your own self to make yourself happy and seek peace at all times. I know I've spoken an awful lot about seeking peace. But if you like, try it without peace. And let's see how long it lasts. Yeah, try it and come and tell me what happens to you. A lot of crazy stuff happens. Hormonal changes in any human being are difficult. But for women, even more so, because we go through so many phases of changing. You're a young child, then you change, then you go into puberty, then you become an adult, then you have to, and each of these phases is a change. Now, as we're unwinding and grinding down, it's also a big change. The people who pursue the things that are going to help you navigate are the people that survive, come out unscathed, and are better placed to be able to face the rest of your life in excitement and happiness. I want to see a lot of my sisters navigate that phase of life and come out with no bruises, no scarring, nothing. It's almost as if you walked through the fire, but you weren't touched. And that's what I want to see from a lot of my sisters. And some of the things that I've spoken about today is what's going to get you there. Go and get a medical checkup if you haven't done so this year, so that you know what your MOT status is. Once you know what your status is, you are better placed and well informed to know where the pitfalls lie, and you're able to fix things to avoid long-term problem. Go and get an MOT done. Get your blood pressure checked. Get your sugar levels checked. Get your eyes checked. Go and get a pelvic scan done. A lot of us are not getting cervical screenings, so we don't even know what changes are going down below to the cells that are there, that are subjected to so much. Cervical screening is like going to get your tooth looked at. Every woman, at least every 2 years. If you live in a place where the systems aren't set up to tell you when your time is up, you take it upon yourself and go and pay to get it done. Because when there are changes in your cervix, it's often silent. By the time it starts giving you signals, it's oftentimes too late. And the end is just tears. You can save your own life and save a life of somebody else by sharing this video. So that somebody who hasn't ever had, I know people in their 30s and they've never had a cervical screening, and I'm just shocked at how they're able to sleep at night. That's how important it is. There have been times when nothing felt nothing, and I went and there's changes. If they catch it early, they're able to do something about it. These changes come about from so many sources and for different reasons. Honey, if you want to stay alive, for yourself, for your children, for your life, go and get cervical screening done. Don't care whether you have to pay for it. Make it a priority. Make it a priority. Put aside all these glamorous things that we waste money on and make your health a priority. Before you put up all the mark, the makeup, everything, the inner being is equally important. Otherwise, you're just polishing on dirt. Fix your inner self. And that radiance would come outside of you to the point where you don't need a lot of makeup to do anything. You're just beautiful because your inner self is fixed up. Go and get yourself checked. Oh, if I wear the same dress to church for the last 3 weeks, people are going to say, oh, last week I wore the same dress. The next week I'm wearing the same. Did you go to church to go and praise and worship your God? Or did you go because of what people have to say about you? When your priorities are right, you really don't give a toss about what anybody else has to say. And that's the place that I've gotten to. And it is so liberating. We waste so much time worrying about what somebody is going to think of me. How come I wearing the same shoe for the last 5 years? Who gives a hoot about you? In the grand scheme of things, you've got to fight to save your life and do what works best for you. What is the point of having 100 pairs of shoes and you don't even have $200 in your savings account? What's the point? This is a conversation for another day. I'm going to pack it here. But all I'm saying to my sisters, hello, Lilias, how are you doing, sweetie? Look after yourself. Make yourself a priority. And if my brothers are in the house, Vivian, living your life for others. Who is even checking that? Like, who gives a toss? The people who are shallow-minded and stupid, let them carry on being silly. Think about your life. Because I remember I asked the sister to go do cervical screen. Oh, it costs money. And now you have to pay so much. I'm like, it's your life on the line, darling. It's expensive, but last week I heard you buying that half piece of cloth to go and sew, and you have to go and buy this hair extension because you're going for a funeral. But you don't have the money to prioritize yourself. Like, our priorities are so misguided, it's not even funny. Fight for you. And husbands in the house, fiancés in the house, boyfriends in the house. If your wife isn't going to do it, if you love your home and you want to seek peace, get your wife to go get all these things that I've talked about done. It saves you a lot of heartache too. And it's important that a lot of my brothers actually invest time in trying to understand the changes that women go through, so that you're better equipped to be able to live with them and cope with them. It's all about survival. You know, sometimes and this is one thing as I conclude here, this is something that I'm going to ask God about one day. Why is it that women go through the monthly flow and men don't? Because I find that a lot of men don't really understand just what it means to go through that phase on a monthly basis. And if only men also experienced a snippet of what it is on a monthly basis, more recognition, more regard, and more understanding will be had from men with dealing with some of the things that women put up with. Yeah, in trying to keep everything afloat. A woman will be going through the flow and the premenstrual syndrome, tenderness in their boobs, cramps, and everything, and still put on a smiling face, still cook your dinner, fix you up, everything, without complaining. One day, if a man comes back from work and there's no dinner, all hell breaks loose because the wife couldn't cook. But when a man has a cold, blowing nose, running nose, and is weak because of the cold, yeah, all the lights in the house are going to go off because they're sick. Women go through a lot of things. You don't know the half of it. If you cherish your wives, your sisters, your mothers, the women that are in your life, and go out of your way to actually understand the changes that happen, you're better equipped to be able to cope with them. A word to the wise is actually enough. So sad. This is a fight for all of us. Men prompting their ladies to go for checkups, and women doing same for our men. Absolutely. And once this whole series about women is done, or part of it is done, we'll talk about the men as well, because there are things that they need to fix up and all too. But today it's for my ladies. Premenopause, it's not fun. Check out, do the things that matter. Fix yourself up. And men should understand the things that happen so that you're better placed to deal with your wives. It's your girl Sika in the house. I love you so much. Please, please, please share this video on your personal profile page so that somebody might get a thing or two from what I've said today. It doesn't cost you anything. Just share. Press the share button and share it on your personal profile, both men and women, please. All this knowledge hasn't cost you a dime to get. The second thing, there's almost 60,000 of us on Facebook. And I want to propagate this message or these messages to wider audiences. Not everybody is on Facebook. I'm trying to grow a following on YouTube. And who best to come to than my own brothers and sisters here on this platform? Please. The name is still Sika Educates on Facebook too. Go on YouTube right now. Find Sika Educates. I'll put the link to the page on here after this video. And just go over there and just subscribe. I know that I can count on you to help me do that. There's so many people who are seeking to ruin this platform so that it's not a place that we can still come to and have conversations and learn and grow together. It's been brought to my attention that there's some inappropriate content. So when you see it, it's on the face of it, it looks like it is me that is posting all these inappropriate images of people wearing nothing, some kind of horrible writing, some scamish kind of things going on. Please, if you see any of that, draw my attention to it so that I can let Facebook know and it can deal with those people. We need to get all these people that are trying to ruin what we're trying to accomplish here and stomp them out before this page doesn't exist anymore. Please help me to help you. Now, if Facebook inserts any ads in this video as you're watching it, please watch the ads. They're normally 10-15 seconds long. Don't skip them, because when you do that, you're not helping me. I cannot continue to put out content like this unless you guys help me. The Wi-Fi, the phone, all the things that have to go into putting these videos out, they cost money. And it's free. You don't pay anything to get all these nuggets from me. Watch the ads if you love me. I want to thank you all so much for everything. Download Tap Send if you send remittances to your family abroad. The promo code is AKUSIKA, and you would see that the rates are brilliant. If it's the first time and you live in Canada and the States, you get an extra $15 on your first transaction to send remittances to your family back home. It's €5 in Europe and £5 in England. And the last thing, if your wife is going through vaginal dryness or, things are just not the same as they used to be, there's some water-based lubricants that you can use. You don't want anything. This is a free gem that will change the pH of that region and cause irritation and all kinds of things for your woman. There's some brands that have been tested and found to be quite pleasant. If you want to know more, type in the comment section and I'll point you in the right direction. I want couples to be able to navigate this phase of life in success, in happiness, and with ease, because this time is a very challenging time, not just for the woman, but also for their spouses and people that live with them. God richly bless you. I love you so much. Thank you so much for watching. And I thank you all. I don't know what to say for all of you. Like, your love is overwhelming. And I love you all so much for everything that you do for this platform. I'm humbled by all the love that you guys show me day in, day out. God richly bless you. We'll be back next Saturday again for this health segment again, and we'll continue the conversation and talk about other things. But today is Sika trying to launch this and promise that we'll keep it going every single Saturday to talk about our health and wellness on a Saturday morning. God bless you. Bye.